We've got to talk about this massive earthquake in Russia. Because this 8.8 magnitude quake hitting just off of eastern Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula yesterday. And while, you might zoom out on that map and think, okay, that looks scary, but it's a very far away problem. The thing is, 8.8 is big. In fact, it is the sixth biggest earthquake ever recorded. With that then also resulting in footage of people experiencing the shake in Russia, like these doctors who were performing a surgery and then had to hold the patient down as it played out. As well as, no shortage of videos of people inside buildings, the things moving all over, videos outside where people were fleeing as chimneys were collapsing to the ground, and even of sea lions diving into the water as quakes hit and rocks fell down from the hills above them. Hell, even one of the biggest volcanoes in the northern hemisphere began erupting in its aftermath. Now, the good news is, according to BBC News, some people were injured, but so far there have been no fatalities. And with that, Russia, where we first saw tsunami waves, you had the BBC reporting that waves up to 13 feet hit ports and caused flooding, with waves then making their way to Japan, where around 2 million people were told to evacuate and get to higher ground. Also with this, I'll say you might be seeing some of the waves and thinking, okay, is that really a tsunami? Well, yeah, it turns out it is. They don't look like the movies. Right? A tsunami isn't like one singular monster wave crashing ashore with, for example, Dan Snyder, the tsunami warning coordinator with the National Tsunami Warning Center, telling CBS News. It's a series of powerful waves over a long period of time. Tsunamis cross the ocean at hundreds of miles an hour, as fast as a jet airplane in deep water. But when they get close to the shore, they slow down and start to pile up. And that's where the inundation problem becomes a little bit more possible there. And adding, in this case, because of the Earth basically sending out these huge ripples of water across the ocean, they're going to be moving back and forth for quite a while. Right? And so that's why, while many areas have lifted their warnings and advisories, some places were under alert for hours and may still continue to see dangerous tides and currents for a while. Which then brings us to the United States, where the coasts of Hawaii, California, Alaska, Oregon, and Washington were all under some form of alert. And here I'll start with Hawaii because that's where most of the headlines are coming from. With gridlock traffic, sirens, and more causing chaos on the island as people were warned to go evacuate, go inland, or find higher elevations.
I would say that a lot of the people that, sorry, we have a siren going off now.
Well, the situation has since been downgraded. There was a very real panic leading up to it, with officials predicting waves up to 10 feet. And you had a retired Coast Guard chief telling the New York Times, "People are driving like idiots. I have moved 100 feet in the last hour." Luckily, so far, minimal damage has been done, with waves hitting at 7:30 p.m. local time, peaking at just under 6 feet, with then local outlets sharing footage of flooding, and you had Hawaiian Governor Josh Green explaining in a press conference again, even if that doesn't sound big, these are not just normal waves.
This is a longitudinal wave with great force driving through the shoreline and into land. That's why we ask people to evacuate very far back.
And then I gotta say, as far as people who are evacuating, you have a lot of people talking a lot about Oprah, because you see, she owns property on Maui, and you had tons of people online claiming that she had closed off a private road that people could have used to evacuate, with people saying that it worsened the traffic in the area, and that contributing to larger backlash that we've seen over the years regarding wealthy people buying up land in Hawaii and pricing out locals, making it harder to live there. And while you had some just pissed that Oprah owns a road to begin with, I will say that claims that she kept the road closed, those have been disputed by both officials in Hawaii and Oprah herself. Because you had a press release from the Maui police regarding the tsunami warning, noting that, quote, "Oprah's road is open to get up country." And a spokesperson for Oprah also issued a statement saying, "As soon as we heard the tsunami warnings, we contacted local law enforcement and FEMA to ensure the road was open. Any reports otherwise are false." But that seemingly has done very little to quell the outrage that she's been facing online. People saying that she bought up land on the island like a monopoly board, and others just generally arguing that billionaires should not own roads. Right, but then all of that, it brings us to the mainland United States, where again, tsunami waves have hit, but they're mostly fine. Crescent City, California saw waves of over 3 feet tall. And notably, that area has seen devastating tsunamis in the past, but this time around, it is expected to be much different. With the city manager telling the LA Times, "It is going to be an event that creates a lot of disruption in the ocean, a lot of strong currents. We're asking people to stay away from the beaches, stay away from the mouths of the river and any low-lying area, especially as disruptions in the ocean could last as long as 30 hours. And that is, you had most waves hitting early in the morning, so the footage has also been minimal. But also in this video from the San Francisco Bay Area, you can see boats rising and falling pretty dramatically with the water levels. You also had waves hitting areas of Washington State, but it does seem that for all the coastal areas of the US, the worst is over with little damage reported, which is definitely a relief. Though again, the ocean will likely continue to fluctuate in impacted areas. Now that said, warnings are making their ways to other parts of the globe, with the Galapagos Islands issuing evacuation orders this morning. Chile also issued a red alert for most of its coast. And then back in Russia, aftershocks have been ongoing, and the country could see pretty sizable ones for around a month.